Michael drove home through the heavy rain, the kind that made it hard to see anything beyond the windshield. He wasn't supposed to be home this early, but a meeting got cancelled, and all he wanted was a warm house and maybe a quiet evening with his daughter. As he pulled into the driveway, his lights swept across the front door, and his heart dropped. A small figure stood outside, completely soaked, nostrils, bare feet in cold water, hair stuck to her face, shoulders shaking. It was Ella, his 7-year-old daughter. Michael jumped out of the car before the engine even shut off. The rain hit his face hard as he ran to her. She was crying, quiet, tired sobs like she had been crying for a long time. "Ella? Sweetheart, what are you doing out here?" he asked, kneeling down and touching her freezing hands. She sniffed, voice almost too soft to hear. "Mom said I should stay outside until I learned to stop lying." For a moment, Michael couldn't move. He felt the air leave his chest. Lying? Ella? She could barely look him in the eye. He picked her up immediately. Hey, you're okay now. Let's get you inside." Her body was cold, trembling against his shoulder. Michael pushed the door open, expecting to hear footsteps, a voice, something, Lauren cooking, talking on the phone, television noise, anything. But the house was silent. Too silent. He set Ella on the couch, wrapped her in a blanket and checked the rooms. "Lauren," he called out. "Nothing." He walked back to the living room, still trying to understand what he had just heard. "Ella, how long were you outside?" She didn't answer. She kept looking toward the hallway like she was scared something might appear. Michael sat beside her, lowering his voice. "Sweetheart, tell me what happened. Why did Mom send you out there?" Ella wiped her nose with the edge of the blanket. Her lips trembled. She hesitated, like she was afraid to say the wrong thing. "I didn't lie," she whispered. "I really didn't lie." "Okay," Michael said softly. "Then what did you tell her?" Ella's eyes filled with tears again. She looked down at her small hands and whispered, almost shaking, "I saw something I wasn't supposed to see." Michael felt a chill run through him. Colder than the rain, colder than the quiet house. He didn't know what she meant, but he knew one thing with absolute certainty. Whatever Ella saw, it terrified her enough that her own mother forced her into a storm to silence her. And Michael felt, deep in his chest, that everything in their home was about to change. Michael was a hard-working, honest man who spent most of his days writing code, fixing software bugs, and trying to keep his job stable. Being a software engineer paid the bills, but things were still tight. He was trying hard to stabilize their finances, save a little each month, and give his daughter, Ella, a safe and happy life. That was always his biggest goal. People at work liked him because he was calm, patient, and never tried to blame anyone else. But lately, even his co-workers noticed he looked tired. He always brushed it off with a quiet smile, saying he was just busy. The truth was heavier than that. At home, things were different, colder, quieter, and more confusing than ever. His marriage to Lauren had once been warm. She used to wait for him with a smile when he came home. She used to laugh easily, talk about her day, cook with him, and sit beside him at night. They were a team. Or at least that's what he believed. But over the last 2 years, something changed. Her voice turned sharp. Her patience disappeared. Her warmth vanished like it had never existed. Michael tried to explain it to himself many times. Stress, work problems, postpartum depression that lingered, but none of the explanations ever felt right. Lauren became unpredictable. One moment she acted indifferent, and the next she became irritated over the smallest things, like a misplaced mug or Ella's toys in the living room. And Ella. Michael had started noticing she flinched when her mother raised her voice. That wasn't normal. Ella was a gentle child, quiet, innocent, and careful. She loved art, bedtime stories, and following her dad around the house like his tiny shadow. But around Lauren, she grew stiff, nervous, always trying to avoid making a mistake. Michael didn't want to think of it as emotional abuse, but deep inside, he feared it was exactly that. He kept telling himself things would get better. He kept ignoring the signs he should have paid attention to, because he wanted the family to stay together. It wasn't just Lauren's moods that bothered him. She started coming home late, giving vague excuses. Sometimes she said she was running errands. Other times she said she needed fresh air, or was meeting a friend. Michael never asked questions. He didn't want to start arguments, and he didn't want Ella to hear shouting. But the late nights turned into more strange behavior. Secretive phone calls where Lauren would step outside or lock herself in the bathroom. She changed her phone password. She kept her purse close and her bank statements hidden. Michael first noticed something was wrong financially when their joint account kept getting lower, even though he was earning the same. There were odd withdrawals, charges he didn't recognize. When he asked Lauren about them, she brushed him off, telling him he was overthinking again. Sometimes she would say, "You're always stressed about money, Michael. It's annoying." Eventually he stopped asking. Not because he trusted her, but because he didn't want Ella to see another cold argument. Ella adored her father. She would wait for him at the window every evening, running to him the moment he opened the door. She felt safe with him. He could see that clearly. She would talk to him about her drawings, her school day, her dreams. She smiled more around him. But whenever Lauren entered the room, Ella's smile faded. She grew quiet, her shoulders tightening just a little. Michael noticed it every time but didn't know how to stop it. He told himself it was just a phase, that maybe Lauren was stressed and things would settle. He was wrong. The signs were there. He just didn't want to believe them. Because if he accepted the truth, it meant everything in his life, his marriage, his home, the future he imagined, was falling apart. What was at stake wasn't only his peace of mind. It was Ella's safety, her emotional well-being, and the entire illusion of a happy home he had been desperately trying to hold together. And now, after finding Ella outside in the rain, shaking and terrified because her mother had punished her in a way that no child should ever experience, Michael could no longer pretend everything was fine. The truth was knocking loudly. Something was deeply wrong in their home. And Michael knew he could not keep ignoring it anymore. Michael waited for Lauren to walk through the door. His mind kept replaying the image of Ella standing outside in the rain, barefoot, shaking, trying not to cry. He held on to that image like a burning coal in his chest. When Lauren finally entered the house, she didn't look worried or guilty. She didn't even ask where Ella was. She just hung her bag and sighed like she had a long day. Michael stepped forward, his voice firm but controlled. Why was Ella outside in the rain? Lauren barely looked at him. What are you talking about? I found her outside. Nos chus. Completely soaked. She said you told her to stay there until she learns to stop lying. Why would you do that to her? Lauren rolled her eyes and rubbed her forehead. Oh, Michael. You're falling for her tricks again. Tricks? He repeated, stunned. Yes, she said sharply. Ella knows how to twist things to get attention. She's manipulating you. She always plays the victim because she knows you'll rush to defend her. Michael stared at her, feeling something cold settle inside him. She's 7. She was freezing. So, Lauren shrugged. Maybe she needed to learn a lesson. A lesson? Michael's voice trembled. She could have gotten sick. Lauren looked annoyed, not guilty. Stop acting like I'm some monster. You're always so dramatic. Michael took a breath, trying to stay calm. Lauren, I'm asking you clearly. Did you leave her outside? Lauren snapped. I don't have time for this. I wasn't even. She stopped. But it was too late. Michael narrowed his eyes. You weren't even what? Lauren's face went pale for half a second before she forced a smile. I wasn't paying attention. That's what I meant. No, Michael said quietly. That's not what you meant. A horrible suspicion formed in his mind. If she wasn't home, then who told Ella to stay outside? Michael walked to the hallway where the security camera monitor was kept. The camera always recorded the front door. He tapped the screen, trying to pull up the footage. Nothing. The file was missing. Not corrupted. Not broken. Completely gone. He checked the earlier hours. Still gone. Michael felt his heart pounding. Lauren, did you delete the camera footage? She scoffed. Why would I bother? Maybe the system glitched. You're always complaining about the old devices you buy. Ella had come out of her room quietly, standing near the wall. She looked frightened, her fingers gripping her sleeve. Michael knelt down. Sweetheart, can you tell me again what happened? Ella hesitated, glancing nervously at her mother. Lauren crossed her arms, glaring at her. It's okay, Michael whispered. I'm right here. Ella's voice shook. Mom wasn't outside with me. She was inside. Michael swallowed. Inside doing what? Ella looked at the floor. There was a man. Silence fell over the room. Michael felt something inside him break. Lauren froze. Ella, stop lying. But Ella pressed her face into Michael's shirt and cried. I'm not lying, Daddy. I saw him. I saw a man in the house. Michael held her close, feeling his world tilt sideways. All the late nights, the secretive calls, the missing money. Every red flag he had ignored suddenly made sense. Lauren's voice shook with anger. This is ridiculous, Michael. Are you seriously believing this? She's confused. Kids imagine things all the time. But her voice was unsteady, her eyes avoiding his. Michael stood up slowly, holding Ella in his arms. Who was here, Lauren? I told you no one. Then why is the footage gone? Lauren opened her mouth, but nothing came out. This was the moment. The line crossed, the truth too loud to ignore. Everything he had tried to hold together was now collapsing. Ella trembled against him, whispering again. Daddy, she told me not to talk. She said bad things will happen if I talk. Michael's heart broke. The last thread of trust, already fragile, snapped completely. Lauren wasn't just distant. She wasn't just careless. She had been hiding something big, something ugly. This was the first layer of betrayal. And Michael knew he could no longer stay silent. He had to act, for Ella, and for the truth. Michael started searching for answers the very next morning. He sat at the dining table with his laptop open, bank statements spread out in front of him. The numbers didn't lie, money was missing. Not small amounts, but large withdrawals he never approved. Transfers sent to accounts he didn't recognize. Charges for places they had never visited. His hands shook as he scrolled through the statements. For months, Lauren had been draining their savings little by little. He clicked into their joint account, and a new message popped up. Account access restricted due to password change. Michael stared at the screen, confused. He never changed the password. Lauren did. His breathing grew unsteady. She had locked him out of their own finances. Later that day, when Lauren returned home, he confronted her. Lauren, where is the money going? Why did you change the account password? She didn't look surprised, just irritated. Stop digging through things you don't understand, she said sharply. I understand that thousands of dollars are gone, he replied. I understand that someone deleted the camera footage. I understand that Ella is scared. Lauren crossed her arms. Ella is manipulating you. And you, she pointed at him, are too weak to see it. I'm weak, Michael asked quietly. Yes, she snapped. You can't handle anything. You always think something is wrong. You're paranoid. Maybe if you weren't so controlling, I wouldn't need to hide things. Michael felt the words like blows. Hide what, Lauren? She smirked coldly. Wouldn't you like to know? Every time he asked a question, she turned it back on him. Gaslighting. Insults. Blame. He felt like he was sinking. That night, Ella barely spoke at dinner. She stared at her plate, hands shaking slightly. When Lauren left the table to answer a call, Ella whispered, Daddy, can you stay with me tonight? Michael leaned closer. Why, sweetheart? Ella lip tremblat. Mom gets angry when you're not here. Michael's stomach twisted. What does she do? Ella shook her head quickly. She said if I tell you, she'll punish me again. Michael felt something inside him harden. No one will punish you. I promise. Ella's eyes filled with tears. I'm scared of what she will do next. That night, after Ella fell asleep, Michael called his sister Jenna. She had always been the one person he could trust completely. When he told her everything, Ella in the rain, the missing money, the deleted footage, the strange behavior, Jenna didn't hesitate. Michael, you need to protect Ella, she said firmly. This is not normal. This is abuse. You cannot keep pretending she's just stressed or tired. I know, Michael whispered. But I never wanted to break our family. Your family is already broken, Jenna said gently. Now you need to save your daughter. The next day, while Lauren showered, Michael checked her phone. He didn't feel proud doing it, but he felt desperate. He opened her messages, and his heart dropped. There were chats with an unknown man. The messages were cold, secretive, planned. We can list the house once I get him out. Don't worry. The money will be in my account. He trusts me too much to question anything. I want my freedom. I want you. Then one message made Michael's hands go numb. Once the house sells, we'll disappear. He's too slow to catch on. Michael stared at the screen, fighting the urge to shout. She wasn't just cheating. She was planning to sell their home, his home, Ella's home, and run away with someone else. She had already taken money, already lied, already hurt their daughter. His breathing became shallow, his vision blurred. When Lauren came out of the bathroom, she looked at him strangely, like she knew something had shifted. "What now?" she asked with a cold smirk. Michael said nothing. He couldn't trust himself to speak yet. Later, Ella approached him with tears on her cheeks. "Daddy, is something bad going to happen?" Michael lifted her into his lap. "No, sweetheart. I won't let anything bad happen to you." Ella buried her face in his chest and cried harder than he had ever seen. "I'm scared of Mom," she whispered. "I'm scared of what she'll do next." Those words hit him like a punch. This wasn't about a failing marriage anymore. This wasn't about money or lies or broken promises. This was about Ella's safety, her emotional well-being, her life. Michael finally understood the truth he had been avoiding for too long. His daughter was not safe in her own home, and he had no choice now. He had to protect her no matter what it cost. Michael waited until Ella was asleep before he finally confronted Lauren. His hands were shaking, but his voice stayed steady. He placed her phone on the table, the screen showing the messages she had sent to the unknown man. "I saw everything," he said quietly. "The messages, the plans to sell the house, the money you took, the man who was here." Lauren froze. For a moment she looked shocked, but the expression quickly changed into anger. "You had no right to go through my phone," she shouted. "You had no right to lie to me," Michael replied. "You had no right to hurt Ella." Lauren laughed bitterly. "Oh please, don't act like you're some perfect father. You're weak, Michael. You're boring. You never gave me anything I wanted." "So you cheated?" he asked. "Yes," she screamed. "I cheated. And I'd do it again. At least he listens to me. At least he makes me feel alive." Michael felt the air leave his chest. Hearing the truth out loud hurt more than he expected. "And the money?" he asked softly. Lauren rolled her eyes. "I deserved it. I handled the house, the bills, the child. What did you do? Sit in front of a computer all day? I took what should have been mine years ago. That was our savings," Michael said. "Ella's future." Lauren slammed her hand on the table. "Don't you dare talk about Ella. You don't get to act like she's all that matters." Michael stared at her, confused and angry. "She is all that matters. She's our daughter." Lauren's face twisted into something cold and cruel. "Is she? Are you sure about that?" Michael blinked. "What are you talking about?" Lauren stepped closer, her eyes filled with rage. "You think she's yours? You think you're her real father?" The words hit him so hard he felt dizzy. "Lauren, what are you saying?" She smirked. "She's not yours, Michael. She never was. Elite. I cheated long before you ever suspected. You've been raising another man's child this whole time." The room spun. Michael felt sick, weak, unable to breathe. Then he heard a small gasp. Ella stood at the hallway doorway, crying quietly. "That's not true," she screamed. Lauren turned toward her. "Go to your room, Ella." Ella shook her head. "Daddy is my daddy. You're lying." Michael bent down and opened his arms. Ella ran to him, sobbing into his chest. He held her tightly as Lauren's words echoed in his head. He didn't know if the claim was true, or just another weapon she used to hurt him. But seeing Ella trembling, terrified, made the truth clear. Lauren didn't care about the damage she caused. She wanted control. She wanted to crush him emotionally. And she had been abusing Ella to keep that control. Lauren stepped toward them. "Give her to me," she demanded. "You don't deserve her. I'm taking her with me." Michael stood, keeping Ella behind him. "You're not taking her anywhere." Lauren screamed. "She's my daughter. She's a child, not a thing you can use to hurt people," Michael said. "You've lied. You've cheated. You've stolen. And now you're trying to destroy her too." Lauren lunged forward as if to grab Ella, but Michael moved in front of her. "Enough." His voice was louder, stronger, filled with anger he had kept inside for years. Lauren stopped, shocked by the change in him. She had never seen him stand up like this. Ella clung to his shirt, still crying. "Daddy, don't let her take me." "I won't," he whispered. "I promise." Lauren's face twisted with hatred. "You'll regret this, Michael. I'll take everything from you." But Michael wasn't afraid anymore. Not of her lies. Not of her cruelty. Not of the truth coming out. The family illusion, the one he tried so hard to protect, was gone, burned down by betrayal, abuse, and secrets. But in that moment, holding Ella close, feeling her tiny hand gripping his shirt, he realized something important. He hadn't lost everything. He still had the one person who needed him most. And he would do whatever it took to keep her safe. Michael didn't waste any time. The next morning, he went to see a lawyer with Jenna by his side. Together, they filed for emergency custody of Ella. He couldn't risk leaving her with Lauren another day. Not after everything that had happened. The court process moved quickly. Documents were prepared showing Lauren's lies, the missing money, the deleted security footage, and the emotional abuse Ella had suffered. Michael's lawyer presented evidence of financial fraud, neglect, and threats made to Ella. Each piece made the case stronger. Lauren tried to defend herself, claiming Michael was overreacting and exaggerating the situation. But the truth was clear. Her manipulation, deceit, and betrayal were undeniable. The judge listened carefully as Ella's experiences and Michael's evidence were presented. Meanwhile, at home, Ella began to change. She smiled more, laughed softly, and even started drawing again. Michael noticed small things. Her choosing her favorite clothes in the morning, asking him to read her bedtime story without hesitation, and resting her head on his shoulder without fear. Each moment showed that she was healing, slowly but surely, under his care. Michael, too, felt the weight of the past months pressing on him. He blamed himself for ignoring red flags, for trying to keep a fragile family together, and for not noticing Ella's suffering sooner. But with Jenna's support and the visible progress in Ella's happiness, he began to reclaim his strength. He realized that protecting his daughter and seeking the truth were acts of courage, not failure. The day of the court hearing arrived. Michael stood with Jenna and his lawyer while Lauren entered the room. Her expression tight, defensive. The judge questioned both parents carefully. Michael spoke calmly, honestly, and firmly. He explained what had happened, how Ella had been treated, and why immediate custody was necessary. Lauren tried to argue, but the evidence in her own actions spoke louder than her words. For the first time, Michael saw her lies unravel publicly. The judge ruled in his favor. Emergency custody was granted, and Lauren was temporarily restricted from seeing Ella until further investigation. Walking out of the courtroom, Michael felt a mix of relief and determination. He held Ella's hand tightly, feeling her small fingers wrap around his. He knew the road ahead would still be challenging, but he also knew he could provide her with safety, stability, and love. At home, Michael focused on rebuilding their life together. He organized the house, made a daily routine for Ella, and ensured she felt protected and heard. He promised himself he would create a home where honesty, care, and safety were guaranteed. For the first time in months, Michael felt hope. He had chosen integrity over fear, healing over blame, and protection over doubt. Most importantly, he had chosen to be the father Ella deserved. In that choice, he found his own empowerment, and a new beginning for both of them. Michael and Ella sat on the porch. The rain finally stopped, leaving the world washed clean. The sky was a soft gray, with patches of blue peeking through the clouds. Ella leaned against her father, her small hand resting in his. "Daddy, are we safe now?" she asked, her voice quiet but full of worry. Michael pulled her close and held her gently. "Yes, sweetheart. We're safe. I promise, nothing will hurt you again." Ella nodded slowly, trusting him in a way only a child could. She rested her head on his shoulder and let out a soft sigh, feeling the tension leaving her small body. Michael looked around at the quiet house, the yard still wet from the storm, and thought about everything that had happened. The lies, the betrayal, the fear they had both endured. He thought about the nights of worry, the fights, and the heartbreak. But he also thought about what they had gained: honesty, safety, and a bond stronger than ever. He tightened his hold on Ella and whispered, "No matter what happens, we have each other. We'll get through everything together." Ella smiled faintly, her tiny hand squeezing his. For the first time in a long while, Michael felt peace. The storm had passed, and though the world outside was still damp and gray, inside they had a new beginning. A home full of trust, love, and safety. And in that quiet moment, Michael knew they would be okay. Hey besties, thanks for watching till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.